This is the Illimitable Experience podcast. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Illimitable Experience podcast. If you're watching this video, like this video, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, do subscribe to the channel. You're posting great content regularly. With that, today we have as our guest Karishma. Hi Karishma, how are you?
Hey Manan, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Karishma, this is like after many repetitive attempts, we are finally recording the episode today. So I'm really looking forward to record the episode today with you.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. And finally, thank God.
Yeah. So, Karishma, you have done your bachelor's in law from India. It's from the same college as I went to.
That's right.
But what one different thing that I've noticed about you is that the trend in India is that people who have done their bachelor's of law in India, they go to UK university to pursue their LLM. Now
Right.
this came off as a surprise to me, that why was it that you chose a US university to pursue your LLM?
Okay. So I wanted to pursue my LLM in US for two particular reasons. One is I like the method of teaching that's out here. It's very practical. It is not very theory oriented, which I have seen a lot in law schools. There's a lot of rote learning that's involved, or you just stick to the textbooks. But when it comes to law schools here, you actually analyze cases, you discuss cases, you have reading assignments, and you're not bound to a textbook. Your questions for exams and all, it can come from anywhere, from any corner of the world, as long as it's related to your subject. So in US law schools, they call this the Socrates method of education, which is you are given a case, you analyze it, you interpret and have a discussion with your peers. There will be no right or wrong answer, because law, it's never about being right or wrong. It is about how you interpret it. And that, I feel in particular, it's enforced a lot in law schools across US. And so I decided to go for US. And there's a second reason. I feel after LLM, when it comes to, job opportunities or the whole visa process, it gets easier over here. I am not saying it's easy. Obviously, you have the H-1B lottery process and all, which is super difficult. But compared to the other counterparts, I feel it's slightly easier. So that, gives you an edge. You can actually have a US work experience that obviously adds on to your resume. So I decided for LLM in US.
Right. Okay. So how is it? Yeah, because when I was applying for my LLM, I noticed that there is a difference between the UK universities. These universities are research based. Right. This is what the universities in the concept of universities in UK. With USA, I did not know what it was. Okay, so what type of universities are there in? Is it research based? Is it private, or how is it like the university system?
So it is a combination of both. You have research as well as private based universities. But when it comes to pursuing LLM, it is not about writing, a thesis, or you have those dissertation programs or something. It is not that. It's more practical. So let's take up a subject. Let's say mergers and acquisitions. You're interested in it. Okay. They will teach you the concepts which you're going to use at your workplace. Obviously, it's theoretical. There's nothing that beats practical experience. But that is what they're going to teach you. They're going to teach you the theory. They're going to give you cases, analyze those cases. They're going to show you what exactly happens in the real world. When you have a mergers acquisition case, how you go about it, how do you draft, let's say, a non-disclosure agreement, NDA, etc., etc. So that way, yeah, it gets more practical oriented rather than research based.
Right. Right. Yeah. So you didn't have the concept of dissertation at the end of semester?
No. There was no dissertation concept. Yeah.
So what did your course look like, right? And what is the duration of the LLM that you have done?
So LLM program out here is a very intensive short program. So it lasts for 10 months. And about courses, okay, so another good thing, I will not be able to speak on behalf of other universities across the world, but this is what I've noticed in US universities. You have flexibility in choosing your courses. So you can decide what you want to study. There will be 2 or 3 mandatory courses that you'll have, but apart from that, your electives, it can be anything. You can take up mergers and acquisitions. You can even take up civil procedure if you want. I know, right? They're like two different, not so related courses, but you can study whatever you want, as long as it's, for me, like at my university, it was 15 credits per semester. You could
Okay.
take up that much of course load. Yeah.
15 credits per semester.
Yeah.
That's a
maximum.
lot, right?
That's maximum. Yeah. That's a lot. I took up like 12 credits per semester. Yeah, 15 is too much. It's
Too much,
overwhelming.
right? Yeah. So are all the LLM programs in USA around 10 months or 1 year duration, or it
Yeah.
varies from what you choose?
No, so how much ever I have like figured out, like when I did my research, most of them it's like 10 months, 9 months. So it's like one academic year.
Right, because yeah, even in the UK universities, right, they offer the same program, which might range from 9 months to 1 year. So, for example, if it is a newly founded or founded niche, right, something like media and entertainment. So it is not
Right.
something which has been existing since 50 or 60 years. It is something which has been discovered in the past 15 or 20 years. So these
Right.
kind of courses are available for 9 months, and
Yeah.
the other courses like commercial law, criminology. So these are the courses are offered for 1 month. I don't know if they are offering a duration, part-time course as well. So what happens in a part-time course is the same, what do you call, the curriculum will be divided across, will be spread across 2 years, and the lectures and modules will be held only on the weekends. So the people who are working, probably, it is a better option for them who work on the
Right.
weekdays.
Very
And
similar to business schools, I think.
oh, right. So that is how it works in the UK universities. Now,
Mhm.
Karishma, obviously we have a few more seniors in UK, studying in the UK, and
Mhm.
so obviously the commonality between India and UK is that we share the common law system, right?
Right.
So it is easier for an Indian student to go to UK and then complete the course. So
Of
how
course.
is the US legal system different from the India legal system?
Right. So about the common law system, I'll agree to that point. India and UK, obviously, it gets easier. US, it does not get easier that way. Like there will be certain subjects that will be common. So I know like contracts, they follow the same common law system. So whatever you studied in India, if you take up like a contracts class, even in US, it's not very difficult to cope up with or like grasp the concepts because they're very similar. Other subjects like, let's take up criminal procedure, evidence, very basic subjects. Okay. So over there, I have noticed over here that you do not have, like you might have statutes or acts in place, but that's not always the case. They derive their rules based on the judgments that are given. So the judge's opinion is given a lot of preference. The judge's opinion or whatever judgment he's given, that's given a lot of preference, and also that's used as a precedent in other cases. So that is how you go on analyzing. Like you'll have like a bunch of cases, you'll be like, oh, okay. So in this particular case, the judge has given this as the judgment. In the other case, you'll be like, okay. So let's say like in that particular case, the judgment is given. He lists down the elements, the judge. In the next case, you'll be like, oh, okay. The same elements have been applied, or the same elements are present. There's a little variation, and this can also be considered as a rule. So over here, when you actually analyze cases, you'll see that you will be the one deriving the rules. There will be nothing given as, oh, as per so and so act, this is what it is. You have to decide what the rules are. And obviously, you'll have law professors who will guide you through the entire process. But that makes it challenging because there's always so much of uncertainty, right? When there's no act or statute in place, you're like, is this right? Is this wrong? I don't know.
Right.
So yeah. So it gets difficult, but at the same time, I feel if you are from a law background, pursuing your LLM from US is not as difficult as people think it would be. Like I get it, you have this anxiety when you're in India. I had this anxiety. I'm like, okay, it's a very different legal system, and I'm still going forward with it. Like after pursuing it, that's the advice I can give. It's not as difficult as it seems to be.
Right. So let me just make it clear for myself. You said that there are no statutes. So
Certain,
the
yeah,
okay, so there
certain
are
things.
some statutes, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
there are
yeah,
not all statutes for everything,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Like
So
in
can you give
India,
an example? So what are the laws that are existing, which are imposed by the government? At the same time, there are laws not existing, but have been derived from the precedents.
okay, so you'll have certain statutes, acts in place. Also, one more thing in US is you have the federal government and you have
Mm,
state government. So there are state specific laws as well as federal government based laws. So let's say
mm,
subjects like immigration, okay,
mm,
that would be federal based. You have contracts. For contracts, they do not have any, like how we had law of contracts, right? Over
mm.
here, it is just the Uniform Commercial Code when it comes to sale of goods. So
Okay.
when you talk about sale of goods, you only follow the UCC. When you talk about services, you follow the law that exists in the common law. But there is no specific act that's defined that, oh, this is the act you're supposed to follow.
Okay.
Uh, so that way it is like I can talk about contracts because I took it up. So it'll be easier for me to give you as an example. So that is how it is.
Mm-hmm.
In India, you have
Right.
sale of goods, you have law of contracts, and it's defined what exactly it is. You just like read that statute, you read those elements, you apply it to cases, and it gets easier. Here, you have uniform commercial code, you have a lot of them. Again, another example, a good example would be torts. Like torts over here is very common. Anything happens, you even like spill coffee on yourself, and you can like sue a person in court and
Oh,
like
that
get like
way.
millions as a lawsuit. Yeah.
Right.
So torts is like very prevalent here. Torts is one subject where you actually have to derive the rules. And there is like no law in place. You cannot say law of torts, so and so.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Right. Right. So, okay, right. So, so I don't know about the US legal system, right? So, how much difference does it make when you go from India to US for studying law, right? Oh, now obviously there is some similarity in our legal system as well. That there are a few
mhm,
central based laws, and there are a few state based laws, right?
state specific.
या स्टेट स्पेसिफिक सो वो स्टेट को कितना ऑटोनॉमी है खुद का लॉज बनाने का ये चीज में इन यूएस
It depends from state to state. Again, I'll have to like give an example because it'll get very complicated. Okay.
या
So we have something known as the model rules of professional conduct. Okay. So that is like how the lawyers are to be governed in US. That is central, like federal level based ABA model rules, you call it. And also at the same time, you'll have state specific rules. So it will be like as per like California, this is how the lawyer is supposed to act in these cases. If there's a retainer agreement or there's a retainer to be taken, this is what they should do. At the same time, there will be something for everyone across US, which will be ABA model rules. That as per ABA, this is what it's supposed to be done. If in case there's a conflict, it's obviously the ABA that will govern, or whatever, the federal level, which will govern, which is even in
ओके
India, right? If it's central and state specific, if they
देन
have
दिस
like conflict, it is the center that will prevail. So it's the same
राइट
over here. They have the supremacy clause.
okay right so I guess so we can say that the legal system of US is not very much different from what we have in India or in the UK. It's just there are some
Yeah,
different aspects that might be different,
yeah.
right?
But very
Right.
manageable, very doable. It's not like,
Acha.
oh my God, how do I go about it? And obviously, like
Mm-hmm.
universities across the world, not just US, when they know you're a foreign educated attorney, they have special programs like LLM in US is mostly done by foreign lawyers. Because
Oh,
when you talk about an American citizen or someone who's even like born, brought up in US, they will go for the JD program, the Juris Doctorate program. So
okay.
LLM, they ensure that when they have to teach people, they maintain a slow pace so that everyone understands what's going on. It's not very
Okay.
quick, right?
Okay. Yeah. I was coming to that because before you had agreed to come as a guest, I had seen a few
Mhm.
LinkedIn profiles in India which said JD candidate, or even in US they said
Okay.
JD candidate. So I was really curious to know what this JD is, and because when I go visited their profiles, they did not have a 3 year or a 5 year law degree with them. The JD program was 1 or 1.5 year, and then they became
Okay.
or lawyers or legal practitioners. So obviously now I think I have said something wrong.
Like
So
they're
can you?
practicing in India.
No,
Is that
in
what you're
US,
saying?
in US, in
Okay, okay,
US.
okay.
Yeah. So can you elaborate on this GD program? What is it?
Okay, so it stands for Juris Doctorate, but it's not like one of
Mm,
the doctorate or PhD programs. It's just your
mm,
LLB equivalent in India. So it's a
okay.
3-year program, which is what I know of because of what I have seen. It's a 3-year
Mm,
program. It's super intensive. It is difficult, overwhelming, etc. But also it like gives you not an overview, but actually an in-depth view of all the subjects that are a part of the US legal system. Just like how we have in India LLB, you study each and every subject, you study in depth. Is the same with the
mm,
JD program. It's not at a superficial level, it goes in depth. And after
okay.
JD, you sit for the bar exam, you get your license, and then you can
Mm-hmm.
obviously practice. But I have
Okay.
not heard of these 1.5-year courses, like I'm not aware. What
Okay.
I've always heard is a 3-year program. A 3-year and a 2-year JD program is what I've heard of.
Okay, I might be wrong in the duration, but what I meant
Mhm.
was it wasn't a complete 3 or 5 year program like we have in India.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Mhm.
So that is maybe it's so does this also vary from state to state, the JD program?
Uh, no, JD will be uniform.
Okay, it's uniform, right?
Yeah, like it depends on the
No.
university curriculum that way.
Hmm.
It has nothing to do with the state as such.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so the way to pursue how is it that a person can pursue JD? Because in India, like we said, right? The first we have immediately after 12th, and the second we have is after graduation.
Right.
So वहाँ पे कैसा system है कि do we need to have some
Okay, so
bachelor in
here,
arts or something, and then we can do JD?
right. So over here, you do not have anything right after 12th when it comes to law. Law school is after 4 years of college. Over here, they have the 4-year college system. Like in India, a lot
Okay.
of courses have the 3-year college system. So here they
Hmm.
have the 4-year college system. After that, you take up your LSAT, which is a law school admission test. You get your
Hmm.
scores. Then obviously every university has its cutoff. Like at this score, we'll accept you, etc., etc. And
Hmm.
then you pursue your 3-year law school out there, like your JD program.
Oh, wow. So to become a lawyer in India, somebody has to study for
Four
seven
plus
years.
three. Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And it can be like any degree, okay? Like your 4-year college, you can major in anything you want.
Acha.
You can probably even go after like engineering. It's all upon you.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Right. Now, Karishma, we have talked about the general aspect of the legal system in US, right? Let's get a little bit more specific. How was your experience while studying LLM, right? How were the
Mhm.
university? How were the professors? And which university did you go to for your LLM?
Okay, so I pursued my LLM at University of Southern California. Its law
Mm.
school is called Gould Law School. And my experience was amazing. I think I lived that whole American college experience in 1 year. It was
Mhm.
really good. If I could go back, I would do it all over again. So it's like that amazing for me.
Right.
When it comes to peers, I think very friendly. It's a good competitive, a healthy competitive environment. At the same time, like you'll actually see people studying from so many resources. You get an idea. Oh, okay, I can go about with this. I can do this. This is how I should also study. And also, professors are super helpful. Like you can actually go and talk to them. And also, in general, I've seen American culture. It's a very casual environment. Like you can actually
Mm.
go to your professor, talk to them about anything, everything.
Mm.
Obviously, when it comes to studies also, they will go out of the way to help you if you go and ask for help. So
Okay.
that way, it's really good. Apart from that, yeah, I feel like reading assignments were really challenging at times because, if you do not come with a lot of work experience and you study a
Mm.
subject where you need work experience, like again, let me tell you an example of mergers and acquisitions itself. I do not have work experience in M&A. Like it's not like I worked for 3 5 years and then I went for M&A. I went right after college. So
Mm.
understanding the concepts got difficult. They're very technical, right? So at
Mm.
the same time, it's like, okay, I'm not understanding the reading assignment. You can email your professor even at midnight, and they're like super prompt. They'll actually help you. Yeah,
Wow.
they're like super
Yeah.
prompt. Okay, you did not understand. You can come before class. We can talk about it. We can stay back after class. We can talk about it. So that way. And also when you, and one more thing I've noticed is like, okay, so in LLB, you'll always have people of your age group, right?
Correct.
But when you pursue your masters, you see people with like 10 years of work experience, 20 years of work experience. They are sitting in your classroom. So you have so much to learn from them. Like even when someone talks about their practical experience, like, oh, okay, this is what happens at workplace. I get it. Like you observe things. So I feel that's a very nice environment. You actually grow and learn a lot in that. So that way it's nice.
Right. So, Karishma, see, you also might have friends that have done their engineering in, in India, but have gone on to do the masters in US. Right? This is a very trendy thing. So it is over there. I can say, even you can say with assurity that the majority of the people who will be pursuing their masters in engineering would be Indians, right? But
yeah, of course.
right. So how was the diversity in your university? Because जैसा मैंने बोला right पहले most of the Indians go to UK university and not to US. How was the diversity like when in your class?
Okay, so yes, it was a very diverse batch. It's like you'll have people from Europe, you'll have people from different countries of Asia, you'll have from China, Japan, India, Korea. You'll have from US itself. There are a lot of like people who are US citizens itself. They decide, okay, I want to even like pursue LLM. Of course, they can go ahead with it. So you'll have people. As such, I know it's a very diverse background and all, but there are Indians at the same time. I know it wouldn't be majority Indians the way you mentioned about engineering programs. It's not that. But at the same time, you know, you will end up talking to people from different cultures. And I think that's a very nice experience because you're like, oh, okay, even their culture has something of the same sort. It's like, oh, they are like us.
Right.
So I think that's nice. It's a very nice feeling for some reason.
Right.
There's nothing bad or harsh that I faced. So luckily, yeah. And I don't think, and I think US universities have this thing like you have diversity out here, but everyone is like ensure that everyone is safe and nothing really happens. So that way, yeah, it's a good environment.
Okay. I'm really glad to know that you have had a great experience at the university.
Yeah.
From someone who is, it's a very unique thing to pursue your LLM from the US. Now, Karishma, you said that obviously when you go to do your LLM, you have people from different age groups, right? Some have had the experience of work ex as well. Yes, now you have completed your LLM, so I think you'll have a right to say, okay, what would you suggest? Should people have some work experience in India, probably like 1 or 2 years, and then go to LLM for, and then go for LLM in US, or is it fine to directly go after graduation? And what did you also personally do?
Okay, so I went directly after college. I mean, there was like a 1 year gap because of the COVID pandemic, but after that, I just like went in for my LLM. Yeah, I think so. I think 1 or 2 years is also less. People should take 3 years work ex because that's when you actually understand that specific field, and then you're going to US to do your masters. You'll be able to relate better to things because I have noticed a lot of times I struggled with not understanding concepts because I do not have work experience.
Okay.
So that is there. But even if you struggle, you will always find a way out. You can obviously work harder, talk to people, talk to professors. If nothing, there's always YouTube for you. So that way, yes, that way there's always that. But trust me, I don't think you'll have to YouTube. Your professors will be amazing at whichever university you go to in US. Yes, apart from that, you can also, I get it like at times people feel, oh, see, after 3 years of work ex, it also happens you become very complacent in life. Once you start earning, once you go in that phase, getting back to education, I don't think it's very easy. It's challenging. So that happens. Even if people think or have that mindset, they can go after college. It's fine. It's good. You can study here. You'll be fine. I don't think there's an issue. If you're talking about like ideally what it should be, I would say WorkX. But even if you don't have WorkX, it's fine. I think it's manageable and doable.
Okay. Right.
And also, like I would like to add on to the job opportunities part of it. Like when you have WorkX, I think you get an edge over someone who's just a fresher, and then you're again like coming to a new legal system.
Okay, so even if the experience is in India, real experience, and then you can, and that will that add to the advantage job opportunity?
Yeah, I think it enhances your profile or your resume.
Okay.
It does give you an edge. So like from those aspects you can see.
Okay, right. Now, Karishma, see, US is really a great hub for universities for any course.
Right.
Um, the university that you went to, and there obviously are many universities as well. Now, how important does the rankings of the university become when you are applying to the university for LLM? Okay, is it like hard and fast कि अगर Ivy League से करोगे तो you will have a successful career? Is there something like that, or even if you any other universities you have, right? Because with the university that you went to, I only got to know because you went there. I did the
Of
research, I
course.
went to their website and like. So how important is the university ranking becomes while choosing for your LLM program?
Okay, so I feel like obviously if it's an Ivy League, it's amazing. I mean, who does not want to go to an Ivy League? That's amazing. But I don't think just because you go to an Ivy League, you go to Columbia or Harvard, you get an edge. I'm talking only with respect to LLM programs, not any other program. If you go to like Columbia, Harvard, and let's say you go to like USC or like let's say any other school that's not an Ivy League, they are going to get an edge over you. That does not happen when it comes to LLM programs.
Okay, right. So
Yes,
everybody's
maybe
treated
from
like
like
fairly and the job offer when
yeah,
it comes to
they treat
applying
it.
for job.
Yeah, when it comes to jobs, yes. And I think one thing for LLM candidates they should ensure is clearing the bar and getting licensed in US because that enhances your job opportunities.
Okay, you're talking about after
Otherwise,
the graduation, right? After
yeah, yeah,
completing the
yeah.
LLM.
After your graduation, you'll sit for the bar exam. You'll get licensed after a few months. So I think that's more important to enhance your job opportunities or like the opportunities that come to you. More
Right.
than your school. School, they might just see, but trust me, like even if it's Columbia, even if it's Harvard, I know it's not very easy to digest that fact because it's like, okay, that person's from Columbia and Harvard, like why would they
Right.
not be given preference? But
Right.
that's not how it is. Like when it comes to LLM, you can be from those Ivy Leagues and still not have a job in hand.
Right. This is a strange learning that I've had in the past 2 or 3 months. I've already recorded an episode with someone who went to Ivy League. He did his engineering, master's in engineering from Columbia. And
Okay.
I asked the same question to him as well. Okay, when you go to apply for jobs, right? What difference does it make that you have a Ivy League degree? He said, no, it doesn't make a difference at all. I'm like, I
Right.
was really surprised to know, okay, yeah,
Yeah, I know
because
it's difficult to digest.
right, because when you are in India, the aura of any fancy university, be it IIM, IIT, or the Ivy League or Russell Group of University, Oxford, Cambridge, is way too huge. Okay, oh my God, he has been to Harvard. Oh my God, he's been to Oxford. Oh my God, he's to Cambridge. But when you hear from people who have been there, they're like, they are quite casual about it. It doesn't make a difference. You have to be really competent even outside
Yeah.
your degree vara sphere as well. There's something really
I
surprising. I
feel
mean,
one difference between Indian education and US education, which I have observed, this is like my personal observation, is India is very academic focused. It's like, तुम्हारे marks कितने आए? Oh, you got a 90%? Oh, okay. 95%? Great. Over here, it's not just, it is about GPA. I wouldn't say you should not maintain a good GPA. You should have like, when it's out of 4, if you have a 4 pointer, great. You have a 3.5, it's great. But that is not the only aspect or parameter that US sees. It's what you have done in your extra with respect to your extracurricular activities. What have you done apart from getting a good GPA?
right.
And that
Yeah,
is
that
what is there even while applying to universities, be it engineering, be it LLM universities. It's not just your GPA, it is a lot of things apart from your GPA that's seen when they get you admitted into universities.
right. Yeah, this is something like an intangible learning for people who have been to such a prestigious university. The thing is, or even any university in the West, that when you are applying to India, right, the focus is always on the history of a student, what he or she has done, right? But when
Right.
you apply to universities abroad, they look at your potential, that what this guy or girl intends to do. Depending on that,
Right,
we
right.
can give the opportunity to study at the university. This
Or
is a
like
major
what
difference.
or like what projects have you undertaken? Or let's say for law school students, it's very important to take up like social services because you're going to serve the society, right? So what have you done while pursuing law? Like which NGOs have you worked for? How have you taken up pro bono cases, etc., etc.? Because how are you proving that you will be a good lawyer? Like, I get it when it comes to transactional or corporate law, it's very different from what, people perceive law as. Law is like you're serving the society, you're helping them out, etc. So, like in that aspect, I feel US universities look, or even like other universities in the West, they look at these different aspects, just not your score.
Right. When you talk about pro bono cases, like when you're pursuing your LLM, was there like a mandatory internship period that you had to, or you would have to take a pro bono cases? Anything is any part
So
of the program?
nothing was mandatory as such, but you could like take it if you want to. Like first semester, you cannot pursue anything. You cannot take up any job, be it paid or unpaid, because those are as per the visa rules. Your second semester, you can take up. It has to be an unpaid position. So I worked at an immigration clinic, and yeah, so they did like pro bono work, and for people. So it was more like, to be more specific, it was very family-based employment. So your green
Okay.
cards and work permits, and it went more into like depth of that. So I did it because I really wanted to experience what immigration was, and this is the opportunity I had. So I went ahead with it.
Right. So if somebody is coming to US for their LLM, what would their ideal day look like? Like even your day, right? When you were studying, not right now, what did your day look like? Like how many hours for the classes? And if they were a short period duration of classes, what did you do for the rest of the day? Like working or anything, learning?
Honestly, there was no schedule. You are like all over the place in that 1 year. You do not know what is going on, what is day, what is night, because you're like swamped with assignments and like reading this, reading that, understanding what's going on. And also, like, it's not how in India, like, let's say JCCL itself, it was like you have your classes from 4 to 7 and then you're done for the day. Or
Correct.
done, yeah, whatever, for the evening. But when it comes to US, you'll have like on Mondays, you'll have a class at 8 o'clock. On Tuesdays, you'll have a class at 6 p.m. On
In
Wednesdays,
the
you'll have like,
evening.
6 p.m. Yeah, 6 to
Oh,
9. Yeah.
okay.
And then on Wednesdays, you'll just have like an 8 a.m. class. So 9 o'clock, you're reaching home, you're like cooking for yourself. And then again, like 8 o'clock, you're like, okay, what is going on? And then doing the assignments. So yeah,
Right.
there's no like typical schedule. It all depends upon the courses that you take. Your schedule will be set accordingly. In your free time, it will be good to read up on the subjects or do your assignments. And also, like, I had like, there's certain days that are free. If you choose your subjects that way, like a lot of my friends had a Friday that was free. So it was always a long weekend for them. Or, you have, for me, it was Thursdays. I was free on Thursdays. So I used to work at the immigration clinic in my second semester. So
Okay.
that way, it all depends upon you, how you go about it. There's this flexibility.
Right. So okay, it depends on the what you choose, right? Now, Karishma, after somebody completes the LLM, what is the next step that a person can pursue?
Okay, so by next step, I'm assuming you're talking about the bar exam, because
Yeah, it can
that's
be anything because in India, right? If somebody wants to go into litigation, then it is compulsory to have appear for your bar exam. But if somebody gets into the
Mhm,
corporate world, the
mhm.
bar exam is not necessary. So, wahan pe, what is the system like?
Okay, so here it's not the same. The way it's in
Hmm.
India. Over here, irrespective of the field that you want to get into, you have to be a licensed attorney. You have to get the state bar exam.
Okay.
So the next practical step, an ideal step after your graduation, is to sit for the bar exam, give the bar exam, work while your results, while you're still waiting for your results. And once you're like licensed, you can start practicing as a licensed attorney in that firm, or you can switch your job. It all depends upon you. So yeah, so that's
That's
how
how
it
it's
goes.
right. And how is the bar exam like? Because I believe in India it is an open book test, right?
Mhm.
Only I think only the bar exam of number 14th or 15 was not open book test. That's all I remember. But more or less it is an open book test. So वहाँ पे how is the bar exam and how much time does one needs to put to to
Studying for the bar
study?
exam.
Yeah, for study for the bar exam.
Right. So bar exam. Okay. So first, it's like a 2 days intensive exam. It does take a toll on you. It's like super overwhelming. At least I can talk about the California bar because I gave the California bar in July 2022. So you have 14 subjects to study. And unfortunately, it's not open book. So you actually have to memorize a lot of things. And I felt the only thing that went wrong with probably my schedule was that 2.5 months is like a very short time to prepare for the bar exam, because you're like studying subjects. Okay, so you in that 1 year you take up a few courses which are tested on the bar. That's fine. But what about the subjects that are tested on the bar but you did not take it up? You're actually like studying from scratch. You're trying to understand a subject, and then when it's like you have this pressure, right? 2.5 months is not just studying. You have to like even practice essays or like the questions, the multiple choice questions. So that I think takes a toll. I think 2.5 months is like a very short period of time. People, at least from India or from any other country, if they're not accustomed to the US legal system, they should start their preparation 6 months in advance to be at a good position while giving the bar exam. And so being more specific about like those 2 days, the first day you're tested on 14 subjects. So you'll have essays. You'll have 5 essays and 1 performance test. Performance test is basically they'll give you a case, a hypothetical, and just like how as a law clerk or maybe as an attorney itself, like a first year associate, how they are supposed to like analyze cases, do their research, type out a memorandum or a brief. That is what the performance test is. So you're supposed to do that in like 1.5 hours. Apart from that, you'll have 5 essays. It can be from any of those 14 subjects. And you have to like write down an essay, write down those 5 essays. So
5 essays in how much time?
So 1 hour per essay. So you have 5 hours and then 1.5 hours on the first day. So 6.5 hours is like your first day schedule.
Right.
Day 1. Day 2 is also 6 hours. So it is 100 multiple choice questions in 3 hours. Then you have like a break and then again 100 multiple choice questions in 3 hours. So that's like your bar schedule. But also those multiple choice questions are not like, direct questions. Some like when I gave my AIBE in India, even though it was open book, a lot of questions are very straightforward. It's like the question itself has the answer.
Yeah.
It was like that straightforward. Obviously, I've even heard like AIB has raised its level. It has become difficult. I've heard a lot of people talking about that too. But again, when it comes to like US, the second day we call it MBE, the multi-state bar exam. So that is where you have your 100 multiple choice questions. So you'll be given a hypothetical. Just like how I think people who have given CLAT, they might be able to understand this. Like you'll be given a hypothetical, you'll be given the call of the question. You have to apply the legal principle or rules that you have learned and take the right answer.
Okay. Right. So it's a very intensive exam, right?
Yeah, super intensive.
I was wondering because you specifically said that you have only 2.5 months to crack the bar exam, right? But for Indians, you said 6 months advance of prepare करे तो अच्छा है. So my question would be कि देखो इंडिया में कैसा होता है कि like let's take my example. Okay, I graduated in 2021. Now, if I want to appear in September 21, that is my call. Or I can also appear next year for the bar exam. So is there like a similar pattern in India?
Yeah, it's up to you. It's not like you'll be compelled to appear. It's just that if you give the bar exam before starting off with a job, it just gets easier. But obviously, you can obviously like work as well as prepare for the bar exam and give it 6 months later, which I feel is a very good step. Because a lot of people you'd hear, like you'll have a lot of counselors, mentors would be like, oh, after graduation, the next step is just give the bar exam. Like even I said the same. But I feel like if you're a person who needs time, take that time. Don't be, pressurized by people. Make your own choice. Give it 6 months later. Prepare well for it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because that's also sounds of, it makes a sound decision. Okay. Immediately also it kind of for people like you and me, or people who will be doing it's difficult. Right. I was going through so what you said, right, about the 2-day exam pattern. I was going through how to appear or become a solicitor in England and Wales. So they do have a two level of exams. When you clear the first level, after that you can get a training contract, and then you have to appear for the second level. So even there, the exam pattern is similar. For the first time, I was really surprised. There is a 6-hour duration of exam. Even in the first level. Like, so but people are cracking it. It's not that cannot be done. because we are accustomed to the 3 hour of duration of exam, right? And there is a
Right.
holiday and then the next day. So for us, this is
Right.
coming off as really new. Now, Karishma, obviously now you have completed your LLM. Why is there another way that a person who does not want to do an LLM from US but wants to have the authority to appear in the courts or able to give advice on US related matters? Can this be done? How valid does the Indian law degree count when doing so? Because when you go look at the UK has two systems. One is SQE, which is Solicitor Qualifying Exam, and the other one is QLTS, which is Qualified Lawyer Transfer Scheme. So QLTS में क्या होता है? Even if you don't have an LLM from the UK university, okay, you can appear for you can become the solicitor, right? So is there any such provision in the US कि सिर्फ अगर इंडिया का law degree है तो कुछ
Okay,
कर
so
सकते हैं?
I think over here, like what you have described over here, they call it the foreign educated attorney. Okay, you're like a foreign educated attorney. I do not know about other states because I've not yet done my research. But when it comes to California, let's say you're an attorney, you have your bar license in India, AIB, you have given, you have your Indian bar license. You can give the California bar exam and become a California licensed attorney. After that, I think you will be in a position to give advice because I don't think without a license, you'll be able to give any kind of advice. That's wrong. But yes, like there's this attorney applicant path that you have. So you can apply for that and be a licensed attorney in the state of California itself after obviously clearing the California bar exam.
Okay. And when somebody clears a California bar exam, so obviously California is a state or a city, I don't know, but it's not a, what is it? Is it a city or a state?
It's a state.
In US?
Yeah,
okay,
California.
it's a state. So California is a state. So when you clear your California bar exam, does that mean that it will give you the authority to appear for all the courts in US? Because अपने इंडिया में ऐसा होता है ना कि पहले स्टेट का हम लेते हैं सनद और फिर हम बार एग्जाम देते हैं EIB. तो कैसा है?
Acha, so over here, it's not the same. So you give like your California bar exam, you will be licensed to practice only in the state of California. Unless you're practicing something that is federal law, let's say like immigration, okay, it's a federal law. So let's say even if you have your California bar license, you can practice that in New York, like you can give advice and stuff, but I do not know about the litigation part. For that, like to appear before courts, you need a license. But US has come up with this new scheme, and unfortunately, California is still not a part of it. It's known as Uniform Bar Exam. So what happens? You give your Uniform Bar Exam. Every state has like a cutoff. If you clear, if your score is like above that and you comply with all the other requirements of the state, you can be licensed in that state. You do not have to go around giving the bar exam of each and every state. So I think there are 48 states, like there are 50 states out here. There are 48 states that are a part of the UBE program. So if one goes for that, I think they'll have a better exposure and more opportunities because now they'll be licensed to practice in a lot of states.
Oh, got it. And once you clear your California bar exam, you also have the authority to appear in the courts or only do the corporate law?
Yes. You can I can do both. I can do transactional work. I can even litigate and appear in US courts.
This is a thing that I have fancied about US as a country. Okay, even if you are not even if you're an immigrant, right? If you clear certain criteria, like after you clear certain criteria of whatever the compliance is, you do have the authority to do things that others are doing, the natives are doing, right? Because
you're at par with them.
Yeah, you're at par. Even if you look at the UK, right? To appear in the courts, you need to appear for another exam. That is their barrister exam, if I'm not wrong. Right.
Okay.
And then that comes after you qualify your solicitor qualifying exam or something like that. I'm not aware of exactly.
This is what I've noticed, like, when I was doing my research, okay, like for different countries, like I researched on Canada, UK, because I feel like, again, Canada has like the Commonwealth system, Australia, US. I felt like US was not complicated, But at the same time, UK gets a little cumbersome, a little complicated. It's good, obviously. Like UK is amazing. It's like where the legal system actually originated, like the best legal system. Yeah. This is the best. But yeah, I think it gets quite tiring.
Yeah. So this is really fancy. You know, this is what I fancy, that if once you clear the California bar exam, you can do both. You can do corporate law, or you can do appear in the bar.
Get into litigation.
Right. And in even when you compare to, just like I said, UK, if you want to do corporate law, then solicitor is the exam. If you want to do litigation, then barrister is the exam. So उसमें भी दो चीज करना पड़ता है. So that's really, I think it opens up more opportunities in the US.
Yeah, and it's also like you do not want to always be stuck on to giving the next exam, right? Like it's very difficult to manage with work. Like once you have like done your LLM and once you have cleared the bar, you're like, okay, done. I'm a little sorted for life. I just now need to focus on how I do better at my workplace.
Correct.
But this, well.
Now, Karishma, after you have cleared your bar exam, so what are the opportunities look like for a person in California? Let's talk about California only. We'll move to the macro level at a later stage. So now you'll clear your California bar exam in probably few days after the results are out. So what opportunities do you have? Okay, can you work only in M&A, or you can do anything you want?
Okay, so I can take up like any field of my choice. And also like why I've been like so focused on, I like said these statements, like be a licensed attorney, give your bar exam as early as possible, because you want to be at par with a Juris Doctorate program candidate. So what really happens is you will see a lot of firms where they give preference to a JD program candidate over LLM. Because they feel, oh, this person has studied for 3 years, it's more intensive. They have understood the legal system in depth compared to someone who is just done like a 1-year program. But when you give the bar exam, you are at par because that JD candidate has also given the bar exam, and so have you after pursuing your LLM. So when it comes to job opportunities, you can apply for the same position as a JD candidate. You won't be differentiated over there. You can work for like foreign law firms out here, proper American law firms. You can get into M&A, whatever, like contract specialist, whatever is like the field of your choice. So yeah, it does open up a lot of doors, I feel, after clearing the bar exam.
Okay, right. And that's a fair point also, that to be able to, compete with someone who has studied 3 years, you need to have a common level playing field as well. Right. So So it is as open as it can get. There is no biased or discrimination or any kind of thing when you're applying for a law firm.
No. Not as such. Like I don't think like anyone who's like done a LLM program has faced that kind of discrimination. But yes, like there will be certain job postings where you will see a JD candidate is preferred. And I'll tell you why. Because a lot of times, so once you complete your first year of JD, that's summer, you can work as a summer associate. It's called like a summer associate position. You can work for firms. So basically it's your internship, but you're given like the summer associate position. You work at one of these top foreign law firms if you are lucky, if your networking is good. And this is like just while before their second year starts off. Again, after the second year, third year also, they know where to go, what to do. They'll again work as a summer associate, probably get absorbed in that law firm itself. So it gets easier for them because now they have like 3 years, they can strategize things. When you're here, 1 year, you're trying to figure out a whole new legal system. And apart from that, even like your personal life, everything's very new to you. You've never done things of this sort in India. And again, then like in US, you're trying to like transition to a new country, a new habitat, a new like culture itself. So I think it gets overwhelming that way for LLM students compared to like a JD candidate. And that's why I think JD is preferred only because they have like the summer associate position, then they know the kind of work that's done at that firm.
Right. I was if you go to a UK based university and when you apply to the firms for internship, they don't call it internship, they call it summer scheme. Right, what you have just junior associate, right? That's a really fancy word. And again, when this is a thing, right? When you go abroad, a very new things that you find out. Okay, abhi dekho, if you are in India, the internship is for 1 month, like 4 weeks to 6 weeks is at least itna to karte hi hai. Max can go up to 3 months or 6 months. But when I came here, I was really surprised to know that an internship over here lasts for 7 days, that is 1 week or 2 weeks.
I
And
know.
so
But
that
you
was
can
like
heard
कि
this.
ये कैसे हो रहा है कि ये 7 और 15 दिन में how, what is something that I get to know, right?
Like,
तो ये भी
I
मेरे लिए
remember
surprising.
talking about UK itself. I think there is something, I've forgotten the name, Bright Fellowship or something, Bright Networks program.
I
So I did
I
enroll
understand.
for it once, like back when I was in India, because I was like interested. I'm like, let's see. And it was
Hmm.
just like a 2-day scheme. And I'm like,
Hmm.
what are they going to teach me in 2 days? Like 2 days, you're like, okay, what is even going on over here? And I've noticed that in UK.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
now that I've like spent some time in this arena, what I think, what people are trying to focus more on as a budding lawyer is that obviously you need to have the the knowledge as well, but apart from that they try to make you accustomed to the environment of the firm that you're applying. That is their main motive
right,
for
right.
internship. It's not about knowledge, it's about getting acquainted what it's like to be a corporate lawyer or etc. That, at least that is what I've seen. So in those 10 or some 1 week or 2 weeks of time, this is nothing new or something rocket science you'll learn in the legal field, but it will only make you accustomed to how lawyers actually function, how to talk to people, how to network, etc., etc. So काफी अलग, it's a very weird feeling when you get to
It's
know
new.
such new things,
It's new.
right?
Trust me, I think like going to different countries, you just learn new things. You're like, okay, something of this sort even exists. Is it even
Right.
possible? So I think even like now you're going to start off your LLM program, you'll have a lot of insight about a lot of things. You're like, okay, that's possible. And I think it'll be
Yeah.
a good experience for you.
Right.
Yeah.
And that is what I'm looking forward to. Uh, so क्या होता है कि well, let's be very open about the money that is involved, right? When somebody chooses to do LLM from UK, their ideal cost of the course itself is somewhere between 23,000 pounds, which amounts to 18 to 22 lakhs, right? And this is excluding your living expenses and everything. So that is a different cost. You can say ki somewhere between 25 to 28
25
lakhs.
to 30.
Yeah, 25 to 30 is an average cost for studying an LLM from UK
UK.
university, provided you're going to UK. And wo bhi
Yeah,
in which city you are in, that will determine your living cost.
of course.
Now, US, the course itself is more expensive than the total combined fees of the UK based university,
Agreed.
right?
Yeah.
And then again, California, I think, is one of the most expensive states in US. So living cost alag ho jata hai.
Yeah.
So for somebody, obviously, jinke paas money hai, that is not an issue. But people
Right.
who want to, pursue LLM and want to make their dreams come true, what is
Hmm.
the, how does the finances can be handled when you're applying to this university or for LLM in US?
Okay, so a lot of LLM specific universities, I have seen they give you like a large scholarship. Like, even like when it comes to me, I'll not obviously mention the amount and all, but I did have a scholarship which covered like a lot of my tuition costs as well as like my living expenses. Apart from that, when it comes to like financing, you do have student loans. I'll not like promote any specific brand or like any company, but I have heard about a lot of unsecured loans which are catering only to the student group. So people can like, research on that, see how their financing works that way, and they can go ahead with it. Like these personally support like, student loans or like to like support your tuition costs and your personal expenses in US.
Right. So what is the average or a median investment that a person needs to complete an LLM course in the duration? Like for
Okay,
UK,
so
just
like
like we discussed, right? 25 to 30 is an average cost,
right.
inclusive of everything. So
Okay,
US
so
में
over
कितना होता है?
here it's more. It will be somewhere around. If I have to be super honest, it will be like somewhere around 50 to 65 lakhs. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So if you get a scholarship, you can reduce that amount. You might like get down to 40, 45 lakhs, and then you'll have to like figure out your financing through student loans. And I even mentioned like these unsecured loans, because obviously not everyone has like a property to mortgage and take a loan against that. Also, like the
Right.
whole loan process is like full of hassles, right? It's not easy to obtain a loan. To obtain a loan also, you have to show that you have the capacity to pay it back. Like the whole system is a little messed up that way. So yeah, I feel, but there are a lot of like unsecured loan options that people can research on, and that would be like a great way to figure out their finances.
Now, I think we have talked everything about LLM in US, but I think the basic हम लोग ने cover ही नहीं किया कि how do you apply for universities in the US, or on what basis can should a person choose US over UK for their LLM?
Right. So for LLM, you have to apply through the Law School Admission Council portal, the LSAC portal. So that process is a little overwhelming. Okay, I'll give you a
from
heads up.
India.
It's like
this
from India itself.
Okay.
Yeah, from India itself, you like apply to universities, but LSAC has like streamlined this process. You have like this common portal through which you apply to different universities. They send your electronic transcripts and whatever other essential documents to the university. So initially, before like LSAC, or even maybe let's say 10 years ago, when people had to apply to US universities, they had to physically mail all their documents to different universities at different addresses. But you don't need to go through that hassle anymore. It's just you log in, you create your account, you make the payment, you pay the application fee to every university, and you apply through the LSAC portal itself. Also, when you're from India, you have this credential evaluation agencies. So luckily, LSAC has its own credential evaluation agency. Like they have a tie-up, and you have to pay the fee on the LSAC portal itself. They'll get your transcripts and all evaluated to bring it at par with the US academic system. So I think that is also good. You do not need to like go to an independent credential evaluation agency. So that's done. Your transcripts are done. Obtaining your transcripts, again, when it comes to Mumbai University, it's electronic. You have to like go to the Mumbai University portal, make your request, upload all your mark sheets, your degree certificate, get your transcripts from like your specific colleges, like from JCCL or any other college you are from, and upload it on the Mumbai University portal, and Mumbai University sends your transcripts to LSAC. Okay, and then after your transcripts are obviously uploaded or they're received by LSAC, they will get it evaluated. That process takes a little time. So like, let's say, to be on a safer side, 1 month to get all your documents evaluated, your credentials evaluated. After that, you can go ahead with applying to universities through the portal. So even if one wants to, let's say, get into the fall semester, let's say fall of 2023 itself, they should start off in September, because a lot of universities have their deadlines in December, and you do not want to miss out on a university deadline.
Okay, right.
Yeah, so that way.
Okay, so this entire process in how much duration does it take to complete?
I think 4 to 5 months.
4 to 5 months.
Yeah, because there'll be a lot of things. You'll have to obtain your letters of recommendation. You'll have to draft your SOPs for each and every university. So that can, plus you'll have other work. It's not like just this you'll be doing. So
right.
Can take time.
Now I'll give you a situation. Okay, let's say somebody is a qualified solicitor in UK, right? And obviously once you have reached that stage, only there are a few exams to appear in other countries depending on which country a person wants to practice. So are there any such provisions? Okay, let's say I'm in Dubai right now and I'm already a solicitor, which means I have the authority to speak on the legal laws in US, or sorry, UK, but abhi mujhe US mein bhi expand karna hai. So is there any such provision, or do I have to do LLM mandatory and then become appear for bar?
I don't think they have this memorandum of understanding or something. I think you're talking about that. Like even India and UK has like this memorandum of understanding and all. So that is not there in US. US is very like isolated and specific that way. You will have to appear for the bar exam, be licensed, and then practice in US. But a lot of foreign law firms, like a lot of UK law firms are in US.
Correct.
But why they set up is, so you're talking about expanding your business. Like let's say it's a law firm itself. It wants to like, okay, so it's like a UK law firm. It wants to set up its base in US. They will hire US attorneys because that will make their life easier. Because they are going to deal with US clients and stuff like that. So that is the reason a lot of UK law firms, or maybe German law firms, or any other European law firms, they have set up their base in US.
Correct.
It's
Correct.
because
Correct.
they want like US attorneys to work for them.
Correct. Right. Now, if you want to give any advice to people, who after completion of their LLM don't know what to work at or where to work. Now, just UK, there is a thing called Magic Circle law firms, right? Have you heard of it?
Right.
Right, which
Hmm.
consists
The
of
top
the
law
five
firms.
biggest top law firms.
Mm-hmm.
So, Vesehi, is there some in such group of law firms in the US where people can aspire or usually aspire to work at?
Yeah, so it depends on the field of their choice. Let's take up transactional law. So corporate law itself, you have these, big law firms. There are many of them. Like one I can think of right now at the top of my head is I think Latham and Watkins.
Okay,
Yeah.
I've heard of
Yeah,
it,
okay,
right?
that's yeah. So it's like a very big law firm, or you have Linklaters. That's again like a very good law firm. So it depends on the specific field that you want to get into. You can do your research, you can have like your top law firms list prepared. You can even like get into the depth and try to find out their work culture. That's something that's suitable, because I think big law firms are something that take a toll on people's health and this and that. Obviously, when it comes to aspiring, everyone has like different choices and opinions and things. I would say do your own individualized research instead of relying on what someone else's research is when it comes to top law firms, and you always have Google at your disposal.
Right.
But yes, so that way. But again, I feel when you're like coming, let's say it's someone who's a fresh college graduate and they're coming here, aspiring to immediately get into a big law firm, I think would not be very realistic. I would suggest start off with a small law firm, build your base, build your niche, like whatever niche is there, build yourself in that, and then go for like a big law firm, because they'll see that now you have work experience, you understand things, and they can easily absorb you. So that way.
Right, that makes sense. Now, Karishma, what I have noticed is in USA there are different terms for lawyers, and I don't know what they are. So I think you'll be able to tell me. Who is an attorney, who is a judicial clerk, who is I don't know, whatever terms you use. So ये terms को जरा explain
Okay.
करो.
Okay. So when you talk about law clerk, it is someone who has graduated law school. They have or they have not given the bar exam, but they're still not licensed to practice. So that is your law clerk. Judicial clerk is someone.
Sorry to interrupt you. So you can say the clerk is someone who has completed his LLM or JD, but is not appear for the bar exam.
Not cleared the bar exam. Like they're still
Okay,
not licensed to practice.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, yeah, they have not appeared for the bar exam, whatever is the case. So that is your law clerk. When you talk about judicial clerk, it is again the same. They have cleared law school. I mean, they've graduated. They've probably given the bar exam, not yet cleared it, but they're working for a judge. So that's why it becomes like a judicial clerk. You have something known as paralegals. So over here in US, you have paralegal training courses. These people, they have not yet gone to law school. They take up like these paralegal training courses, and you can work at a law firm as a paralegal. And then obviously, once you clear the bar exam, your first position, it starts off as a first-year attorney. Or like a junior associate, whatever. Like every firm has like their own terminology as such, and that's how it goes.
Okay, and who is an attorney in USA?
Attorney, yeah. So once you're like licensed to practice, like after clearing the bar, you'll be an attorney. You'll be called as an attorney.
Okay,
Until then,
so
you're not an attorney.
Okay, got it. So I think your result will be out in a few days, just like you told me before the recording.
Oh, it will be out in November.
Okay, November, sorry. So
November,
I think I'll have to address you as an attorney after.
I hope I can.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Karishma, this has been a learning discussion completely. Thank you for coming as a guest and enlightening the listeners with your, why someone should do a LLM from the US. I mean, it's an offbeat path, but obviously the path is different at the end of the day, right?
For sure. And thank you so much for even having me over. And also, yeah, I loved this experience that I had. This is something I have done for the first time, and I really wanted to tell people about it. And I think this is like a great platform for it.
I'm glad you liked it.
Thank you.